Yeah. Tick, tick. Yeah. Yeah. Hello, everybody. Am I audible? Am I audible? Can I get a few thumbs up so that it will just reinforce that yes, you can hear me and see me. Can I have a few of us? I can see 12 people have joined. One of you who could give me a thumbs up, whether it's audible properly, visible properly. Yeah? Can I get a hello? So good afternoon, everyone. I can see many people joining in on a Sunday afternoon, giving up on the afternoon siesta. That's wonderful. I would want to thank Visamo Kids Foundation for giving me the opportunity to speak on this subject. This is very dear to my heart, and I've practiced this in the last few years that I have led large teams. So I can see a few watch party. Can you just give me a thumbs up that I am audible as well as visible? Somebody who can just give a thumbs up. Yes? Okay. So, emotional intelligence. We have all heard about this terminology called emotional intelligence. Today we are going to talk about what are the 5 key elements that the tenets of emotional intelligence. Before that, I would want you, to think. I want all of you who have joined, just think about any incident और एनी जिसे हम हिंदी में घटना कहते हैं, ठीक है, कोई भी ऐसी घटना, एनी इंसिडेंट इन योर लाइफ, राइदर in the recent past, in the past, or maybe in the present, which has left an indelible impression in your mind. Can you just make a mental note of it? Let's take 30 seconds. I'll give 30 seconds to make a mental note of this. Yeah. Any incident which you remember, the good, bad, ugly is not being discussed. Any incident which is dear to you, make a mental note of it. Let's take 30 seconds. Yeah? Can I just have a thumbs up that yes, you have already taken mental note of any incident? Which actually led you to some crucible moment because of the emotion which was attached to it, right? Now in the comment section, if you can just write yes, then that will just reaffirm that I'm able to reach out, that I'm audible as well as visible. Can you just put in the comment box yes or no? I can't see the comments. A mental note, if you have already done, please write yes. I can see a few people having joined. If they can just say yes or no, a mental note of any incident which touched you, touched your heart in a good way, in a bad way, not important. Emotions are important. I still can't see the comments. Okay. Okay. Now I want you to just write what was the emotion attached to this particular incident. Can I see a few of the comments? What are the different emotions attached to this? Can you please write in the chat box? So, what I'm understanding is, yes, can you write, what is that one emotion which is linked to this particular incident or happening? Either it would be sadness, happiness, anger, disgust, fear. Yes? So most of us attach feelings to those incidents which leave an indelible impression in our minds, right? So what are feelings and what are emotions? Most of the things which are very transactional in nature don't leave an indelible impression, but if it's an experience where it's your emotions which has touched your feelings, then you're going to remember it, right? So from here I'll take on, so when we say, to quote Helen Keller, say that the best and the most beautiful things in life are not to be seen or heard, but they must be felt with the heart. And this is exactly what happens with the human mind. So when we say, let's first understand what are emotions, right? Now, every second, we use emotions to interact, knowingly or unknowingly. Okay? And research says that we have at least 456 emotions we undergo in a day. There are about 2,000 to 3,000 thoughts that crisscross our mind every hour. So what is emotion? So in the language of psychology, it's defined as a complex state of feeling that results in physical and psychological changes that influence your thought and behavior. So human behavior is very complex, because it's a mix of all these emotions and feelings put together. But let's also understand that this complexity is also the basis of human intelligence, right? So when we say, because our body language speaks a lot to people. Now, just to take a cue from what all the comments that we have got, it was Paul Ekman in 1970 who defined he did a lot of research on the human emotions across the globe. He studied different communities, and he identified the 6 main emotions like the anger, disgust, happiness, sadness, fear, and surprise. Later on, he added 4 more to this. That was pride, shame, embarrassment, and excitement. That's what makes these 10 emotions. Now, feelings and emotions are all attached to the experience and the incident, as we see. Right? Now just keep that mental note, and as we proceed, as we move into the 5 tenets of practicing emotional intelligence, try connecting to this incident, how differently you could have behaved, how differently you could have managed yourself. So, the emotional intelligence is defined as ability to not only identify but manage our emotions and those of others around us. How does this happen? What are the tools? What are the techniques? What are the tips? Let's get into the in-depth of this. So, and of course its importance. Why is it so important? So it is important because, one, wherever we are, in whatever capacity, whether I'm a leader, manager, teacher, parent, student, right, or I'm just a homemaker, doesn't matter. So emotional intelligence, it helps us to manage stress, number one. It helps higher performance. It helps you to manage your teams better. It maintains higher job retention, because as a leader, it's also your job to retain people. You can only retain when you connect to them, when you communicate. These are very important facets. Similarly, job success, satisfaction, these are all attached, as to why emotional intelligence is important, not only at work, but also in our personal spaces. So the 5 key elements are self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skills. Now, why are we getting into this discussion on a Sunday afternoon? Okay. So we may be aware, that, okay, self-awareness is important. But what we are trying to do today is to just do a self-introspection, a reality check, as to how we can increase these 5 tenets. How we can increase the degree or augment, इन्हें हम कैसे बढ़ा सकते हैं over a period of time. क्योंकि ये एक दिन में कभी नहीं होता है. It's like you keep practicing over a period of time. But what do I practice? Right? I have to have a scientific method in place. I have to have a structure in place. Right? So let's look at it. So when we say the 5 tenets, it helps ensure success at work or any task you are at. It will help you achieve success. So let's see. So first is self-awareness. So what is self-awareness? Self-awareness is knowing about yourself, managing your own strengths and weaknesses. And let me tell you guys, friends, that only we know our weaknesses, nobody else. I'm sure you'll all agree to this, right? The strengths, others can mention about it, but weaknesses only we know. And how do we then overcome these? Right. So it's a lot of self-direction. Self-direction means I have to be self-motivated. So let's see how. So self-awareness is about, how you're feeling about a job. When you're doing that job, what is that feeling which is attached to it? It's important to identify it. And your actions, they can affect people around you. So we should have a clear picture of our strengths and weaknesses, which means behave with humility. That's the mantra. Similarly, there are 2 methods, where we can augment this, we can increase. हम इसे increase कैसे कर सकते हैं? एक होती है self awareness. तो self awareness में ये होता है कि what is that incident which is triggering particular emotions in me? Emotions cannot be right and wrong. Let's get a few fundamentals very clear. Emotions can never be right or wrong. It's the situation or the purpose to which it is attached. Right? So, if I'm angry about a right cause, it's okay. Nothing wrong. If I'm happy about doing wrong to someone, then that happiness is not the correct emotion. Then it's wrong. Right? So the fundamental principles are there, but the beliefs and the ethics associated are the person's own. So let's discuss. So when we say self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, social skills, these are the 5 tenets. Now, how do I increase each of these 5 tenets over maybe the next 6 months, 1 year? It's an ongoing exercise. As we mature, as we evolve, it's important that these 5 skills also need to be augmented, because we want to keep on increasing the quotient in order to be successful. So, how can we increase it? So, self-awareness is, you can keep a journal. That's one method. So, if I keep a journal and, it helps you improve self-awareness by identifying your emotions, which means you spend a few minutes every day to pen down or write your thoughts. And what happens is you will then move to a higher degree of self-awareness, because you will know which incident is triggering that particular emotion. Whether I am angry, I am sad, I am happy, I am depressed. So the triggers or the indicators, will become more clear to you. The more clear these indicators are, the better your strategy or actions to arrive at, or maybe to address the issue, if at all. The second part is slow down. So keep a journal, slow down. This is the second method. Why? Because when you experience very strong emotions, just slow down. Examine why. Remember, no matter what the situation is, you choose to react to it. Okay, so don't blame it on the situation. We need to blame it on us. Okay. So, like I said, it's nothing wrong with being angry, but it's what is not easy is to be angry with the right person, to the right degree, in the right manner, for the right reason, okay, and in the right way. So when we say, these are all prepositions which are attached to it, so there's nothing wrong in being angry, but it's the method. There is a method to madness, right? So second part is, of course, about self-regulation. So when we say self-regulation, the leaders or people, who are practicing self-regulation, they rarely attack people verbally, and neither do they make any rushed emotional decisions. They don't stereotype people. They don't stereotype people. They don't compromise on values. So if I have to increase my self-regulation quotient, what do I do? There are three methods. 1, know your values. 2, hold yourself accountable. And 3, practice being calm. 3 main strategies. So when we say know your values, means your values, your beliefs. And which means you spend some time re-examining the code of ethics for yourself, not for others. If I've examined the code of ethics, I exactly know. So I am very crystal clear. So if there is a dilemma I am faced with in decision making, there is a moral or an ethical dilemma, it just becomes easier, because there are certain values I compromise on, certain values I don't. So you've already defined the non-negotiable values, and hence your decision making becomes easier. The second part, hold yourself accountable. Why? Because you can't blame others for something going wrong in your life. Okay, make a commitment to accept your mistakes, rather our mistakes, face consequences. You'll sleep better and you'll be respected by people around you. The third most important, practice being calm. So when we say practice being calm, it's when you're faced with, next time, when you're faced with a very challenging situation, be very aware of how you act. Every single action of yours, measure it, identify it, see, introspect. Do you relieve stress by shouting? So there are managers, leaders, who, when they are faced with a stressful situation, they shout at the team members. Others who are more in control of the situation, though it is the same stressful situation for both, there's another leader who stays calm, who's completely in control. Obviously, the latter gets accepted more than the former, right? Nobody wants that kind of leader, right? Because you yourself are also learning. So when we say practice being calm, there is another method. So I might, want to blow my top. Nothing wrong. Just take a piece of paper. Start writing down, why you want to shout, what you want to say. Write it down on a piece of paper. Then rip it up, throw it away. Of course, you're not going to show it to anybody. Okay. So what happens is you have expressed your emotions on paper. 1, you're not showing it to anybody, because it's better than speaking aloud, right? Because you're writing it, you're expressing it, you're giving vent to your emotions, and then This also helps, this exercise helps in challenging your reactions, whether they are fair or not. So on a later date, maybe when you are more cooler, you will go back to the drawing board and see whether I have been fair. Now that's a question we all need to ask ourselves, not to others. Right. And why are we doing this exercise? Because if I'm not self-aware about, if I don't practice self-awareness, if I don't practice self-regulation, then I'm affecting people around me. I'm impacting the other people with my actions. Okay. The third most important point, of course, is motivation. Now, what do we mean by the word element motivation? So if I'm not motivated, will I be able to lead and manage or hold my team? That's a question we need to ask ourselves. So self-motivated leaders, it is seen, they work consistently towards their goals, and they have extremely high standards of their work. Hello? Am I audible? I think there was a connectivity issue. Audible and visible. I'll resume. So I was discussing about motivation as a third element. Okay, motivation, empathy, and social skills. So when we say motivation, most of the leaders, who are self-motivated leaders, they work continuously towards their goals. And they have very high standards. They set very high standards for the quality of the work. So how to improve motivation is something that we will look at. So one way to do it is you could re-examine why you're doing a particular job. Sometimes it's easy to forget why are we doing that job and why we have selected that career. So one way to do it is re-examine the job, re-examine your, go back to the roots. Okay, that will take some time to remember why you wanted this job, why you wanted this career. This is one example I'm giving. It can be anything else also. So, hello. I think there is a major network issue. Please bear with me. So I'll start with self-motivation. How do you re-examine self-motivation? It's a very easy method. One, know where you stand. Two, be hopeful to find something good. Okay. Now, when we say know where you stand, there are you could try this 5 why technique. So asking the question 5 times. Why am I doing this? Okay, you have an answer. Why? So 5 whys. That's one technique of getting back to your goals, getting back to your roots, and then